5.4 Rectangular Marquee Tool. Hi, the Marquee tools are indispensable for my work, and in this lecture I'll help to show you how valuable they are. There are 4 in total. If you go and search for it right here on this Tools tab, while click holding on this icon right here, but everybody uses the first 2. They are the Marquee tool They are the rectangular Marquee and the elliptical one. These other 2 are useless and pointless. In this lecture, we'll talk about the first one. Its hotkey is M. Click and drag and you'll have a rectangular selection. Do that again and a new selection will appear. To deselect, use Ctrl D. Now, while in the options bar, you'll notice 4 icons and one of them is active. Let's explore them one by one. The second one is the normal mode that creates a new selection every time you drag. The second one, when used, will automatically add to your selection. No matter where you draw on your canvas. It can be next to it, or it can be somewhere completely unrelated, just like this. You'll notice here on the second mode by checking out your cursor. Here's the normal one, and here's the add to selection mode. My advice is to keep it at its default setting and use your hotkeys to go through these modes as you need them. Shift key adds to your selection, so it temporarily actives the second mode. As you can see, my cursor has a plus symbol next to it. The third icon removes part of your selection and its hotkey is Alt. Notice the minus symbol on your cursor. The final 4th icon mode is to intersect, and this is rarely used. Its hotkey is both Alt and Shift, and you recognize it through this X symbol. This removes every part of your selection except this intersection. The idea is that you can create lots of intricate selections with it, but in reality, few people use it. Moving on, you can see the size of your selection while you drag like this. W stands for width and H for height. So if you now want a 300 by 400 pixel selections, you could use it like this. It requires a bit of tinkering, but it does the job. Note that if you have the Marquee selected and you click inside and drag, you will be able to reposition it. But that only happens if you are inside the selection. Another setting from the options bar worth nothing is fixed ratio. For example, 1 by 1 will make it a perfect square. If you want to achieve the same result, simply hold Shift key while dragging. Please note an important difference, that is, click, drag and hold Shift. That will give you a perfect square. Hold Shift, click and drag will enable the second mode that adds to your selection. Let me say that again. If you drag first, then add Shift, you'll constrain its aspect ratio and you'll get a square. If you hold down the modify key, in this case the shift, you'll change the Marquee mode to the second one, which adds to your existing selection. This applies to Alt as well. Click, drag and hold Alt and your selection will expand on all sides. If I move to the left, the selection will grow to the right at the same time. Finally, if you click, drag and hold both Alt and Shift, you'll grow your selection uniformly starting from where you clicked. Just like this. Moving on, click on the mode from the options bar and then fix size. This is useful when you want to input some specific values. So if I put 100 by 100 on this options bar, just like this, and then click anywhere on the canvas, it will give me just the exact pixels dimension that I just input there. This is great for those cases where you want extra precision. But again, I recommend you keep the style set as normal on the options bar. Finally, I want you to remember this essential point. If you click and drag, but don't let go, and you press the spacebar, you will be able to freely position it on the canvas. That's going to prove useful in just a few minutes. Note that you have to hold down the spacebar, otherwise it won't work. And that's the rectangular Marquee tool. Note that when you try to do the same thing to a smart object, a shape layer, or a text layer, you'll see these techniques won't work in the same way. All these selections must be made on a rasterized layer. Okay, with that being said, let's continue to another video where we will discuss about the elliptical Marquee tool. Till then, as always, stay creative.